Now, in this video, I am going to discuss mercury contamination of aircraft structures. Now, introduction. This leaflet describes the possible effects of the spillage of metallic of mercury salts and solution on aircraft structures, and the method by which these substances may be removed. Now, number one, contact between mercury and aircraft structure is fortunately infrequent, but on those occasions when it does occur, immediate action is necessary to prevent serious loss of strength in the contaminated components. Since the effects of spilt mercury are potentially more dangerous than those of spilled battery acid, the aircraft must not be moved and no action must be taken which might disturb the mercury and increase the area of contamination. The area must be isolated and decontaminated must be carried out as quickly as possible. Metallic structural members, exposed wire, electrical cables, terminal blocks, and other metallic parts susceptible to mercury attack must be carefully examined and replaced or repaired if evidence of corrosion is found. Now, number two, general. If mercury is spilled by breakage of a container, mercury vapor, lamp, thermometer or similar instruments, bracket close, the mercury will split into small globules which will quickly disperse over a wide area and attack many of the metals with which they come into contact. If the spillage occurs in the passengers or freight compartments of an aircraft, some of these globules are likely to find their way through joints in the floor panels and insulation blankets and come to rest on the aircraft skin and structure, where corrosion and embrittlement of the aluminum may start. A film of oxide, paint, grease or oil will delay the onset of mercury attack. But where the mercury is in contact with bare metal and moisture is present, the attack will progress rapidly and cannot be arrested by any normal cleaning process. Now, number one of two, amalgamation. If metallic mercury or mercury salts or solution come into contact with any of a number of materials, they combine with the basic material and form an amalgam which has no appreciable structural strength. This process is very rapid, particularly in moist condition, and the affected component may be completely destroyed. Now, number two, embrittlement. Intergranular penetration by the mercury result in embrittlement, which will initiate cracks and accelerate crack propagation. Degradation of the structural strength of the material may be complete and will be accelerated if the material is under stress. Now, number three, recognition of mercury attack. Evidence that corrosion and embrittlement have commenced may be recognized visually as follows. Number one, on aluminium or aluminium alloy, a grayish powder, fuzzy deposit or viscous growth. Number two, on copper, brass or gold, a silvery stain or coating. Number three, on silver, cadmium or zinc, the surface of the affected area will appear slightly brighter than of the surrounding metal. This may be very difficult to see. Now, for this 2.3, I have gone in this. Number one, in all cases where visual signs of mercury attack are found or suspected, the affected part must be replaced or repaired by the insertion of a new material. Now, number three, health hazards. Both mercury and its vapors are toxic, and at normal room temperature, toxic temperatures will be present in the air above spilled mercury. Care must be taken to prevent mercury and its vapor from being inhaled or swallowed or from coming into contact with the skin or eye. If a person finds that his hands have come into contact with mercury, he should not eat, smoke, or blow his nose without first washing carefully with soap and hot water. Protective clothing and rubber gloves must be worn by personnel engaged in decontamination, and adequate ventilation must be provided in the working area. After decontamination has been carried out, the protective clothing should be discarded, and the hands and the any tools used thoroughly washed with soap and hot water. Now, number 4, how will detect it? Detection. Large globules or pools of mercury are normally easily visible, but small particles may be difficult to locate. Fortunately, even minute particles of mercury show up well on an X-ray radiograph, appearing as white dots, while corrosion and brittlement appear as tree-like forms in the aluminum structure. Now, number 1 on this detection, an electronic device known as sniffer is commercially available, which can be used to detect mercury vapor. This device will also indicate the presence of liquid mercury, which is not visible to the naked eye. Now, number 5, cleaning method. There is no satisfactory method for cleaning mercury corrosion, but a number of methods have been developed for picking up spilled mercury, and they may be broadly classified as mechanical or chemical. On no accounts should normal methods of cleaning such as washing, wiping with a cloth, or using an air jet be employed, as this will merely increase the area of contamination. When collecting loose mercury, care must be taken not to scratch the metal surface, as this could result in mercury attack on a previously unaffected area. Note: jars containing mercury or other corrosive fluids should always be contained within an unbreakable case, so that accidental damage to or spillage from the jar will not introduce additional problems. Now, number 1 in these 5 mechanical methods. Now, number 1 is suction. A powerful vacuum cleaner or vacuum pump may be used to pick up pools or large globules of mercury. However, since mercury or mercury vapor may have an adverse effect upon their mechanism, a glass trap should be used to collect the spilled mercury, and should be located near to the free end of the suction pipe. By using suction, rubber pipes of small bore may be adapted to remove mercury from otherwise inaccessible corners. A medicine dropper or a rubber battery water syringe may be used for picking up large globules if no mechanical suction devices is available. Now, number 2, 5.1.2, brush. A tool developed especially for picking up spilled mercury consists of a brush with nickel plated carbon fiber pistol. When the brush is dried lightly over the contaminated surface, mercury is picked up by capillary action. The brush should be carefully taken into a suitable container after each stroke. Now, 5.1.3, foam pad. A commercially made plastic foam collector may be used on flat surfaces to pick up small globules of mercury. The pad should be pressed onto the mercury, and when pressure is released, the globules will be drawn into the pad. Mercury may then be expelled into a suitable container by squeezing the pad in a special holder. Now, 5.1.4, adhesive tape. Small globules of mercury may be picked up by pressing adhesive tape or medical plaster onto them, but care is necessary to prevent spreading the contamination during removal of the tape. Now, chemical methods 5.2. If calcium polysulfide is brought into contact with mercury, an inert solid or mercuric sulfide is formed, and this can be easily removed. The normal method of application is to make a thin slurry of calcium polysulfide in water and to brush this onto the contaminated area. When the mixture is thoroughly dried, in bracket after approximately 2 hours, it may be removed by brushing and vacuum cleaning. An alternative but less effective method is outlined in paragraph 5.2.1, which I had read earlier. Sorry, I will read now. 5.1.1 Chemical recovery. In this method, a length of flexible electrical cable comprising the strands of bare copper wire is used together with glass jar or test tubes containing separately dilute nitric acid in bracket 5% by volume in water closed bracket closed distilled water, methylated spirits and small quantity of mercury. The recovery process is as follows. Number 1. Bear the cable of for 2.5 cm in bracket 1 inch approximately, untwist the wire to form a brush and immerse the bared wires in nitric acid for a few seconds to remove any staining. Number 2. Pass the brush quickly in the distilled water to remove the acid and then in the methylated spirits. Now number 3. After shaking off excess liquid, dip the brush in the jar of mercury. An amalgam should form on the bared wires. Now number 4. Insert the brush into the spilled mercury to pick up a small quantity. Then shake off the mercury into the mercury jar. Repeat this step until the spilled mercury is recovered. Notes. Number 1. Overexposure to air between steps 3 and 4 may result in oxidation of the copper wire and failure to form an amalgam. Number 2. The active life of the brush after step 3 may be a few minutes only, and the process will have to be repeated as necessary. Now number 3. The brush must be discarded if the copper strands show sign of breaking away as a result of amalgamation with the mercury. Now number 6. Decontamination procedures. Whenever spilling of mercury has been reported as or discovered, the area should immediately be isolated to prevent the spread of contamination through transfer by footwear and clothing. If radiographic facilities are available, the following actions should be taken. Number 1. Locate and remove the source of contamination, taking care to prevent further spillage. Number 2. Carry out a radiographic examination to ascertain extent of contamination at floor level. Number 3. Remove all mercury from the floor panels, paying particular attention to the joints and using the appropriate cleaning method as given in the paragraph 5. Now number 4. Remove the floor panels and carry out a further radiographic examination of the underfloor skin and structure, including electrical cables and terminals, and any components of the materials which is likely to be affected by mercury attack. Number 5. Remove any mercury indicated on the radiograph. Note. If mercury has penetrated between riveted or bolted joints, it will be necessary either to separate the joints or to completely remove the panels or structure concerned in order to clean the contaminated surfaces. Drill bits used on contamination structures should be discarded. Now number 5. Carry out a careful visual examinations of the area using a lens of 10 microns magnification and renew or repair any components which are show signs of mercury attack. Number 7. Carry out a final radiographic inspection to ensure that all traces of mercury have been removed and reassemble the skin and structure using approved repair schemes while necessary. Now number 8. Apply a film of oil to the area so as to prevent any minute particles of mercury which may have been overlooked from causing failure corrosion. Now in this 6.1. If contamination is discovered at an airfield without radiographic facility, the source should be carefully removed and the affected area progressively stripped to the metallic structure. A thorough examination for mercury should be carried out before removing any item, and any mercury found should be removed by a suitable method before proceeding with the stripping. Material exhibiting signs of mercury attack must be renewed or repaired, and the suspect area should be marked with a chalk or grease crayon. The aircraft must be routed to a base with radiographic facilities for complete decontaminations and inspection as outlined in paragraph 6 given above. Now 6.2. Details of the occurrence including the exact area affected and the action taken should be entered in the appropriate records. Now 6.3. After the aircraft has been in service for a short time, a further inspections of the previously contaminated areas should be carried out to ensure that no further corrosion or embrittlement cracking has occurred.